So welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. Today, we will have a you'll love to hear Jeff Crilley talk about pre-publicity and his story about how he got from point A to point B today. You'll enjoy his talk. So be glad to have him share it with us today. All right. Just to let you know that this event is being recorded and it'll be uploaded to the channel for others in the future. And I've got to check with Jeff and see that it's okay. I think it is because we've done it before. But by participating in this event, you give consent to use your name and picture to appear. Now, that's not going to show up. Anything in the chat window is not recorded. So just to let you know that Jeff Morris is the founder of this group. He started it in 2007. Long before we went to online stuff, been participating in that, and he created the careerdfw.org. If you are new to job search, the first thing you want to do before you even look at your resume is go to careerdfw.org and look at the resources that are available there. And I think I can drop you in a link to a previous recording that includes a walkthrough of Career DFW and Career USA. And so he wrote a book with a little about the job search you may not know. And he's been a member of the pit crew. So Jeff is home. He is recovering. We look to have him come back. I'm ready for him to come back anytime. I'll be overthrown, be happy to be overthrown. So in the meantime, Matt Keelan and I have agreed to be the interim leaders of the group. And so my name is Walt Class, and I am a retired IT professional through, well, it's been over about 40 years of IT stuff. If you remember paper tape and punch cards, that's kind of where I started. And I've been through many different roles over the years, leading up to senior roles as well. Matt, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, Matt Keelan.
Everybody got it?
He just said his name, that's it.
Well, he can do more if he wants to later. We'll get
I'll do more once we get to the intro.
All right, yeah, we'll get to intros later, so he can use the microphone. So our agenda,
wonderful resources.
Yeah, our agenda today is we're going to see if we have any success stories. I have a couple of one update and on a story to mention. Any job leads? We have a recruiter with us here today. Talent acquisition, multiple gifted finder of jobs. So he'll be speaking to us just briefly about some of the things he has. We're glad to have him with us today in person. Our committee reports for the tip of the week from Ozena, the interview success workshop, and the pit crew, and then the main event. All right, let's talk about landings. Anyone have any landing stories? Anybody landed? All quiet on the Western Front. All right, well, let me give you an update. Some of you may remember that I gave an update on the story of my nephew who was retiring from the military after 28 years. He was a colonel, and there's only so many spots for a general, and so it's one of those things you have to get out for a while. And so he was very successful in finding a job and going through the process, but very successful. I'm not going to repeat all the stuff that he found in the job, but later on, the Army calls him up and says, we want you to take a part-time position at the Pentagon and we'll make you Brigadier General. So a week from today, he will be promoted to Brigadier General, and he will do 2 weeks a quarter at the Pentagon. And his company, he went to them and said, I think I can do both, but I committed to you first. So what's your decision? And through that path, they said, listen, we didn't hire you just for this job. We have plans for you for 3 levels up over the 5-6 years going forward. And that's why we hired you. And he said, well, I'll have to spend a couple of weeks a quarter. So, fine, go ahead, do that. And so it was really a story. You think, he says, you know, the Lord put all these things in place because he said, I couldn't have done it on my own. And so I'm really happy for him. He's made the star. That was his goal when he was an ROTC in college. So good for him, and a great story. Now, I also have a person, John Sparks. Now, John sent me several emails, and I want to read, I'll go down to the one that I find, but bottom line is, he says, Walt, I followed your words, nailed the second interview, they offered a position. So he starts on Monday. I don't know what his job title is, but it's at wrestling. He has a background history of speaking at funerals, doing some activities at funerals on not on a paid basis, but he's very familiar with that. So he has landed. But one of the things he said was, and I want to read something to you. Why don't you look through the hang on a second. Well, I'll pull that email up. Well, I'll get back to it later. I'll go through some other things before I get back to it. But anyway, one of the things he said was, they asked him, what was his greatest weakness? Is everybody prepared to answer that question? Do you know what you might want to say with that and how you're going to respond to that? And he said, well, I'm too detail oriented. And his interviewer said, stop right there. I've heard that so many times. I want something else. Then he didn't know what to do. All right. It was really difficult for him. So the advice is, and I give this advice, it's a little risky to take a strength to an excess as a weakness. Why? Because everybody does it, and we don't want to do that. All right. It may be true, may be factual, but it's so often done, it's not different. So we approach that. If you want to know how to approach that, take the interview success workshop that I'm going to talk about a little later, and I'll show you, we'll discuss how to do that. Okay, enough on that. So now it's time for Leighton. Leighton, can you get up and give us some information about some job leads? Glad to have you with us, Leighton.
All right, can everybody hear me online? Or is it muted?
Patty nods.
Perfect, excellent. Well, hello everybody, my name is Leighton. I am a recruiter and account manager at Catapult Solutions Group. We're local here in Plano. Currently, we have a couple of active, like really high priority positions that we're working on. We have 2 receptionist positions down in Dallas, as well as a help desk, service desk position in Dallas as well. That one's gonna be a little bit more on the networking side. In addition to that, pass along all my information to Matt. He'll drop it in the chat. We do post all of our positions. There are more positions than that we post on our website, and of course our LinkedIn page as well. You can see everything that we're currently working on. But if you're interested in any of those opportunities, feel free to connect with me and I'll connect you with the right person. Or if you just want to connect with me in general and just kind of a general conversation, I'm always open to that. So feel free to send me an email with your resume and I'll be happy to talk with you. And that's all I've got for today.
Leighton, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Leighton. And Matt's going to drop some information into the chat to help you reach Leighton. So glad to have you with us. Thank you for coming aboard. So we're about to do our introductions today. So for those of you that are online, we would say enter this following information into the chat, right?
Looks like we might have another recruiter on, Tracy Harris. You want to check if there's somebody online?
Yeah, are you online, Tracy?
Yes, I am. Sorry, had trouble unmuting there.
All right, great. Well, go for it, Tracy.
Excellent. Well, I think I've mentioned this before. My name is Tracy Harris, and we work for Thomas Edwards Group. So a staffing firm that focuses in accounting, finance, HR, and IT, mostly local to the DFW area. So that's where our positions are going to be. You might see on our website that we have a couple in Houston and one in Austin, but mainly focused in those areas. We also have contract work as well. So working on over 100 various opportunities within the Metroplex. But some of them are requiring active CPAs or public accounting. But I would encourage everyone to look at our website and see what we've got. But we've got a lot of different opportunities in the Metroplex currently.
So you put some information in the chat window?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, great. So I'd like to ask you this question. I should ask Leighton also. What % of the jobs are you seeing are contract versus full-time?
You know, I don't know what I would say as far as percentage. I would say on the perm side, it's been far heavier than it has been on the contract to hire side. If I had to put a percentage on it, maybe I would say 80-20.
We won't hold you to it, but we get it.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, heavy sounds appropriate on that. I would guess 80% on the heavy too. Thank you. Appreciate that. What do you think, Leighton?
Say our business probably 70% contract, 30% direct.
So his has different, he has a 70% contract, 30% direct, so quite a bit different. So there's a lot more contract work coming, that's for sure. It's increasing over time. Toyota's famous for doing a lot of contract work. All right. Now for introductions in the chat box for you that are online, put in your name, the position you're looking for. Give us your email, at least your email address. If your email address is there, you'll get some information, follow up as a part of today's session, your phone number. And we'd like to have your city so we know where across the country people are now participating. And then if you have 2 or 3 target companies, and if you don't, go get 1 or 2, because we definitely want to have target companies. We can help you more if you tell us a target company, then you just say, I'm looking for a job. So you can enter that, or have to do that. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, here we go.
Later on, you can take a picture of it if you want to get technical.
Okay. I'm not, my kids are. So shitty. I don't know what the other.
Okay, now we're going to start with introductions, starting with the people that are in the room. So here is an outline. So we want to be brief today. We don't need your total life history. I was born in and that sort of thing. We just go ahead and follow this outline and see if we can get everybody covered today.
Well, I'm Penn Boyd. I'm a B2B marketing executive looking for a position with be a mid-size, but I'll go all the way to large-size company. Looking for contacts at T-Mobile. And I have contacts in quite a few industry. I've got over 1,000 contacts on LinkedIn. So I'm more than welcome to help you out with anyone that I can help you out with. My name is Penn Boyd.
Hello, my name is Rick Harrington. I'm looking for a position as a mathematician analyst. I need contacts at PMBM Assessment and the NSA. Again, my name is Rick Harrington. Thank you.
Any luck again?
Hi, I'm Dustin Piercy. I'm a project accountant. I'm looking for a role as a project accountant in the construction industry. Right now I don't have any target companies. I do have contacts as subcontractors in construction. Again, my name is Dustin Piercy.
Thank you, Dustin.
Hi, my name is Robin Claderbaugh, and I'm basically exactly what Penn Hoyt said. I worked with him many years ago. So I'm a senior marketing executive looking for a senior leadership role. Target company right now, I would say Salesforce. So if anybody has any contacts at Salesforce, that would be great. And I have contacts at numerous companies. My previous employer was Oracle. So if anybody needs contacts there, I am your girl. Thanks. My name is Robin Claderbaugh.
Thank you, Robin.
Hi, my name is Jody Burton. In marketing, advertising, account management background. I have contacts it's sort of a small here, just in DFW area. I've got marketing, advertising agents contacts. My name is Jody Burton.
Thanks, Jody.
Good morning. My name is Todd Williams. I'm also a marketing advertising professional looking for a mid-size or mid-level type of position, either for an ad agency or also on the client side. And I do have contacts through my previous work at PepsiCo on the beverage side primarily. And again, my name is Todd Williams.
Thanks, Todd.
All right. Jumping down line, Patty.
Hi, everybody. I'm Patty Bashy. I'm looking for an account director or senior customer success manager working at a marketing research company. I need contacts at Ipsos, Sago, and Mark Research, and I have contacts at Nielsen. I'm Patty Bashy.
Thanks, Patty. Ahmed.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Ahmed Issa. I'm looking for IT PM / Scrum Master, mainly in the government / financial industries. I have contacts with Robert Half and Randstad, whoever is interested in doing contract roles like I used to. Thank you, everyone. And once again, name is Ahmed.
Thank you. Brian.
Good morning. My name is Brian Jerome. I'm looking for a position in supply chain, inventory control, production scheduling. My name is Brian Jerome.
Thank you, Brian. Deanna?
My name is Deanna Huckabee. I'm looking for a Director, VP Learning and Development in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Target companies are Wells Fargo, Oracle, and Baker Tilly. I have contacts that I can help others with at Deloitte, IBM, and PwC. Again, I'm Deanna Huckabee. Thank you.
Thank you. Elise?
Good morning, everybody. Elise Kuby, working with Thomas Edwards Group. I work alongside Tracy. I did drop my LinkedIn in the chat, so feel free to connect. And just a reminder, we work with accounting, finance, HR, and IT positions. Would love to connect with you guys.
Elise, thank you very much for being here. Vitaly.
Hi, everyone. This is Vitaly Platonov. I'm looking for supply chain or logistics manager position, targeting General Motors, Peterbilt, and Packard. Ready for relocation. I have contacts at Hyundai North America. My name is Vitaly Platonov. Thank you.
Thank you. Etienne.
Morning, everyone. Name's Etienne Joseph, and I'm looking for campus recruiter opportunities. I need contacts at Wells Fargo, USAA, and AT&T, and I have contacts at Workday, Intuit, Corning, and IBM. My name is Etienne Joseph.
Thank you. Leon.
Hello, my name is, Leon Lamb. I'm looking for junior software engineering positions. Some of my target companies are TI, JP Morgan, and Blue Yonder. I have some contacts at SAP and Paycom. And again, my name is Leon Lamb.
Thanks, Leon. Leslie.
My name is Leslie Radford. I'm looking for a content marketing, social media marketing, or brand management role. I don't have any specific target companies, but I am looking at small to medium marketing agencies or private businesses that need marketing help. My name is Leslie Radford.
Thank you. Peter.
Good morning, everybody. I am Peter Watson. I'm looking for project management or services delivery management roles in technology, background in telecom. I'm looking for contacts at small to medium-sized local businesses to Plano, which is where I live. I have contacts at Ericsson, Verizon, and Tempest Telecom. And my name is Peter, the Englishman, Watson.
We could have never known.
Nope. Rosina.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosina Gallman, and I'm your Career Tip of the Week host. I'm looking for a senior talent acquisition consultant or senior recruiter position. And I'm currently looking at needing contacts with Delta Dental or HEB Grocery or Walmart in the Texas home office or the corporate office in Bentonville. Again, my name is Rosina Gallman, and if you need any contacts, and I hear the ones that I know of, I would definitely reach out to you. I can definitely speak to the two people who mentioned that they need contacts in Wells Fargo. I'll reach out to you guys directly because I have a direct contact there.
Very nice of you, Rosina. Thank you. Tracy Lawton.
Hello, I'm Tracy Lawton. I am looking for positions in IT management, application support, project development, business analysis manager, or business analysis lead. I am having target companies of Toyota and Fidelity, and I'm also available and have contacts that's at Globe Life Insurance Company. I'm
Tracy,
Tracy
is there a
Watson.
particular part of Toyota?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Is there a particular part of Toyota? Toyota has several organizations, the financial group, the auto group. I mean, it's got several, or is it just Toyota in general?
Just in general, so I'm not,
Okay.
you know, so anyone that's available that needs IT management or
Okay.
business analysis support, I'm available for that.
What kind of car do you drive? You don't have to answer that. But I'm tempted to go through over there through Toyota's garage and see what all the automobiles are.
But I tell you this, if they hire me, it will be a Toyota. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anthony Archery. I'm a senior retail manager / merchandise operations. I help the company grow for both sales and drive profit, same time reduce cost. Anthony Archery.
And I am Matt Keelan, IT VP or Director. I help companies spend their IT dollars wisely. I'm looking for contacts at Hurricane so I can help you with Cherry Becker and Grant Thornton. Matt Keelan. Did we miss anybody in the room or online?
I think we got everybody covered, Matt. Okay, thank you. So, Rosanna is our Chief Tip of the Week Officer. She does the research and the work in order to develop and find these tips. And so I was looking at your LinkedIn and said, okay, it has like 32,000 words in the tip this week. And so we don't have more than about 4 hours for you to read this thing. It'll be interesting how you summarize all of that today.
I'm going to do my best. All right. Well, here we go, everybody. So as you know, for those who've been on the call, we are doing a series, Job Search Strategies. So this week's strategy is 30 powerful and effective job search strategies that get results. This article is by Flex Jobs. So are you feeling overwhelmed and frustrated in your search for a remote job or any job? Maybe you found some interesting roles, but they don't offer the work-life balance you need. If so, you're not alone. Many people are seeking remote work to achieve their career goals, and they're struggling to land a quality position that will support their career. Well, job searching can quickly feel disheartening, but you don't need to discard your focus on creating a healthy balance. You can find a quality job providing the flexibility and career growth that you're looking for. It all comes down to how you strategize and plan your job search. So the idea of a shortcut to a quick and easy job search is understandably appealing, but the trouble is those shortcuts are rarely legitimate or as easy as they're advertised to be. So to help, Flex Jobs has put together this 30 effective job search strategies article to help us to avoid the online scams and to try and find a quality company that will strengthen your future and your finances. So let's get started. First strategy, you want to get to know yourself. Take personality tests and reflect on your passions and interests to identify your dream job. Second strategy, establish and set goals. Establish your salary requirements, desired work environment, and career goals to prioritize opportunities. Consider creating a vision board for inspiration. Third strategy, master your time management. Practice time management and skills to keep your job search productive. Set aside dedicated time for tasks and stick to your schedule. Strategy 4, develop a routine. Establish a routine that works for you, whether you're a morning person or a night owl. Consistency will help you maintain momentum. Strategy 5, know your worth before you have to share it. Research and understand the market value based on your education, experience, and location before applying for jobs. So when we're in the category of finding opportunities and networking, strategy number 6, attend job fairs. Attend both in-person and virtual job fairs to network, learn about new opportunities, and make lasting impressions on potential employers. Prepare your elevator pitch, dress professionally, and research companies beforehand. Strategy 7, build your network. Connect with colleagues, mentors, and professionals in your industry through social media, job boards, and events. Consider joining professional associations to stay updated and expand your network. Strategy 8, explore alternatives. Consider part-time or freelance roles alongside full-time opportunities. These experiences can bolster your resume and help you gain valuable skills. Strategy 9, informational interviews. Connect with hiring managers through informational interviews to ask questions about the company culture, specific jobs or industry. Aim for short meetings and offer value up front. When you're looking at the category of building your brand and application materials, strategy 10, develop your personal brand. Create a professional website or blog to showcase your skills, experience, and accomplishments. Ensure your online presence is accurate and reflects your career goals. Strategy 11, find a mentor. Seek guidance from a mentor who can offer advice on your job search strategy, career development, and industry knowledge. Prepare specific questions to maximize your sessions. Strategy 12, embrace your job search platforms for maximum results. Utilize niche job search platforms or targeted sites like FlexJobs to find remote jobs that meet your needs. Leverage filters and set up job alerts to stay informed. Strategy 13, keywords. Identify keywords from job descriptions and incorporate them into your resume or cover letter, your LinkedIn profile, and other online profiles to get past the applicant tracking systems. Strategy 14, headhunters and recruiters. Consider working with a headhunter or a recruiter who specializes in your field. Update your resume and research them before connecting. So some additional strategies. Let's look at strategy 15. You want to expand your job title variations. Research job title variations to uncover roles that you might be qualified for, but they're listed under a different name. Strategy 16, focus your search. Narrow your focus to identify the types of remote jobs that you're looking for and skills you possess. Research potential employers and create a list of ideal companies. Utilize a daily schedule and tracking sheet to stay organized. Strategy 17, word of mouth recommendations. Leverage your existing network to reach out to friends, family, and acquaintances for advice, recommendations, and job openings. Strategy 18, hire a career coach. Consider hiring a career coach for personalized guidance and support with developing a job search strategy and marketing yourself effectively. Strategy 19, professional organizations. Join professional organizations to stay updated on industry trends, network with potential employers, and access job boards or mentorship programs. Now, the application process and beyond. So, strategy 20, strategically time your applications. Avoid submitting applications on Fridays or after 4 p.m. Aim for Monday mornings or late Sundays for better visibility. Consider working on evenings or weekends to prepare applications in advance. Strategy 21, social media strategy. Leverage your social media platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram to build your professional profile, showcase your skills, and connect with recruiters and industry influencers. Ensure your content is professional and avoids negativity. Strategy 22, practice for interviews. Prepare extensively for interviews by researching the company and practicing answering potential questions. Consider mock interviews to smooth over the jitters and refine your responses. Now, researching potential employer companies. Strategy number 23, company insights. After identifying your ideal remote job, research potential employers thoroughly. This step will help you understand the company culture, values, and expectations, ensuring you're a good fit. You want to find remote opportunities, so identify companies offering those remote positions by utilizing job search platforms such as social media networks and professional forums, and focus on organizations aligning with your core values. And some key considerations: when you're researching a company, pay close attention to the overall vibe, the mission statement, opportunities for growth and development, and flexible work options. So looking at tailoring your application materials, step 24 or strategy 24.
Losing audio.
You okay, Walt? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
You're
Rosina.
choppy.
Okay.
You're kind of choppy, Rosina. Yeah, that's better.
So sorry about that. Strategy 24, tailoring. Okay, so am I still clear?
Yes.
Okay. Tailoring application materials. You want to customize, because that is the key. Avoid generic resumes and cover letters. Tailor each application to the specific role and the company. You want to highlight your qualifications. Research the company and job requirements to showcase skills and experiences demonstrating your ideal fit. You want to use the data-driven approach. You want to focus on bullet points using keywords and requirements from job postings instead of generic phrases. Professional presentation. Use a professional design template that complements your credentials and is easy to navigate. And then the applicant tracking system, you want to include industry-specific standard sections like experience, education, and skills to bypass the ATS and ensure your qualifications are recognized by recruiters. The art of following up, that's strategy 25. Stay engaged. Follow up after every interaction in the job search process. This includes thanking someone for an informational interview, checking in with a recruiter after an application, and contacting hiring managers if you haven't heard back within reasonable time. And then have effective follow-up. Learn how to personalize your follow-up messages and communicate quickly. Utilize resources to create compelling follow-up emails and phone scripts. Hone your negotiation skills. That's strategy 26. Know your worth. Before negotiating, establish your market value by researching salary ranges based on education, experience, titles, and location. Confident counter offers. You want to, first, don't accept the first offer without negotiation. Counter confidently with salary ranges that considers benefits, flexibility, and career growth. And then preparation is the key. Gain knowledge by reading resources on salary negotiation to learn effective strategies and tactics. Strategy 27, you want to stay competitive. Upskilling for success. Continuously update your skill set by taking courses, attending webinars, joining professional associations, and reading industry publications. This demonstrates your commitment to remaining relevant in a remote work landscape. And then technical and soft skills, you want to develop both technical skills specific to your industry and soft skills like communication, problem solving, conflict resolution, critical thinking, and digital literacy. These are increasingly valuable in the remote work environments. And communication tools proficiently, you want to familiarize yourself with communication tools commonly used in your target industry, such as Slack or project management tools. So leveraging technology is strategy 28. You want to learn time-saving tools by utilizing technology to streamline your job search by exploring job alerts, profiles, and apps. And then technology with a human touch. While technology can save time and keep relevant, avoid overwhelming applications with generic information. Maintain a personal touch to showcase your personality. Strategy 29, AI tools and platforms. You want to target applications, with targeted applications, you want to explore using AI-powered tools to generate targeted resumes and cover letters. Use these tools to receive feedback on how you concisely express your qualifications. Ethical use of AI. While AI can enhance your application materials, never misrepresent your skills or experience. Use AI responsibly to effectively compete for the role. And then finding the right tool. You want to research and choose an AI tool or platform that aligns with your needs. Many offer free trials to explore before commitment. And then lastly, strategy 30, staying informed. Webinars and tutorials. You want to watch webinars and tutorials related to your industry and job search strategies that keep you informed about current trends and provide an edge over less informed applicants. You want to develop new skills by taking tutorials that can teach you valuable new software programs or skills that benefit your ideal remote role. And then reliable resources. Utilize free resources like YouTube, LinkedIn Learning, podcasts, and webinars offered by reputable sites. Make a habit of checking for new offerings regularly. So in conclusion, with the right job strategy, you can find success and land a role providing the work-life balance that you need to thrive. Tackling your job search one step at a time, you'll be able to be well equipped to stand out from the competition. And by following these comprehensive strategies, you can create a reliable job search plan and increase your chances of landing your dream job. Remember, consistency and taking one step at a time will equip you to stand out from the competition. And keep in mind, every job that you apply to, you're at least in competition with 200 to 600 or even over 1,000 other applicants. Make yourself competitive to stand out. Also, please note this article was produced by Flex Jobs. They are a membership service and a subscription service. Career DFW does not endorse or promote the sign-up of any membership or subscription service. We're strictly sharing information produced by the organizations to help educate the job-seeking community as a way to assist you as part of your job search strategy to find the people, information, and opportunities to land your next career. We encourage you to seek, research, and use information on your own from a variety of resources. And this particular article with 30 strategies has a lot of hyperlinks contained throughout the entire document. Please use the URL to be able to go to the website online and click on all the active links within the article, because you will then have full access to all the hidden information contained behind the scenes. Thank you guys for listening to this week's Career Tip of the Week, which is 30 effective job search strategies that can get results. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Rosina. This is a very comprehensive document for those of you who have legibly signed in with your email address, and those of you that put your email address into the chat window will get a follow-up email with that document that includes the link as well. So you will see that. It's quite comprehensive. All right. Let me talk a little bit about the Interview Success Workshop. This is something that I volunteered to do. I've done it for several years now. I think I'm over 1,300 people. So what is the Interview Success Workshop? It is a very informal learning interview. We're going to learn how to sell ourselves, since it's a selling situation. What are we selling? We're selling who we are, what we do, and how we help. So I developed that model in the year January of 2000 when I screwed up an interview royally. He asked me, what can you do for me? And I didn't have a clue. So how do we sell ourselves since we want to sell? So that's what it does. It covers the 12 basic categories of questions. Look me up on LinkedIn. My About section describes the workshop, tells you how to sign in to register. And so you can use that QR code if you want. My LinkedIn page has my contact email for the workshop and my phone number. If you need to call, just send that email to the Yahoo, and that will start an email if you want to use the QR code. Fill in a couple of pieces of information and we'll get you on the schedule. I do it currently from Tuesdays from 9 to 11 Central Time on Zoom. So it's learning. We're going to focus on learning. This is not a mock interview. I call it learning without squirming. in the interview, worry we must breach. So that confidence we can reach. Open the door to the learning interview so the job search we can quickly pass through. I am Walt Glass.
Nice.
Matt, you want to talk about the pit crew?
Sure. Dallas Pit Crew stands for Practice Interview Team. We meet in this room every Wednesday from 1 to 3, despite the business card saying 2:41. Still don't know what that's about. And on the 4th Wednesday, we are online only. Come and watch other people being interviewed. We do 3 per week. The panelists 2 to 3 each. Spend quite a bit of time preparing for those interviews by reviewing the job description and your resume. Both Walt and I are panelists and been doing it for a long time. It's a lot of fun, learn a lot. And then once you're comfortable after having watched a few interviews, please go to dallaspitcrew@gmail.com to sign up. We are booked out to about mid-October. So if you want your own personal interview with some immediate feedback, which is phenomenal, please reach out quickly.
Thank you very much, Matt. So just a lunch report today for those of you that want to participate and go with us. Good networking opportunity, get to know each other, make a connection, make a relationship. We're going to meet at Jason's Deli, the northeast corner of Parker and Preston here in Plano. Be glad to have you come over and share some lunch with us. So I just can't tell you, see, Jeff, I see that you're here. Thank you so much for coming in. You know, I've counted 11 appearances for you for doing this now. I think the last time you said it was 10, so I think it's 11 this time. I've been on 8 of those, Jeff, over the years. I've been participating in this particular group as a participant, not as a co-leader. But we are, I'm very excited to have you come back and tell your story. I appreciate your time and everything. I know you're a really busy guy, so I welcome you to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. You can unmute yourself. Here, I'll unmute you. There's the participants.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Awesome. I'm sorry. I'm one of those boomers who can't do technology. Anyway, thank you so much for inviting me back. This is really one of the highlights of my year. Because I'm one of those kind of old school, nobody's going to outwork me. And so I think what people enjoy most about my story is the stick-to-itiveness and the grind that I've used throughout my career. So my career begins when I am a sophomore in college. I had it in my mind I was going to be a television reporter. I got an internship at the local CBS station in Lansing, Michigan. And so I was cleaning toilets in the morning to pay my way through school. And in the afternoons, I would jump on, I put on a little suit and tie, jump on my little moped, scooter over to the TV station, and begin what I considered my real job, an intern at a little CBS station in Lansing, Michigan. Well, there were 5 interns with me. And the rumor on the street was nobody had ever gotten a job out of an internship at Channel 6 in Lansing. But, we're all playing a movie in our mind. And in my movie that I was playing, I was saying to myself, I am going to work so hard that they'll be blown away by my effort. And they'll come to me after the 10 weeks are over, and they'll shake my hand and they'll say, Jeff, this is amazing. You're killing it. We've never seen anybody with so much hustle. Would you do us the honor of becoming an employee here? So if you guys have ever had an internship, you pay the university for the privilege of working for free. So I was technically only supposed to be at the station 20 hours a week. I was there 70 hours a week. I was there nights, weekends. I started to look for opportunities. Photographers would go out and they do a story about the county fair. but they didn't have a reporter with them. So the photographer would have to hold out the mic and ask the questions too. So as an intern, I just kind of begged the photographer, hey, let me go out to the county fair with you. I'll hold the mic, I'll ask the questions, and I'll even buy you a lunch for the privilege of allowing me to do that. So I started to do everything a reporter would do other than being on TV. And so the 10 weeks came and went, and nothing happened. So I had a little bit of a crisis. I was like, wow, okay, if I tell the TV station that the internship is over, I'm going to have to leave this place. But if I don't tell them it's over, I get to stay. I hadn't completely thought this out because at some point you get busted, right? So I'm 15 weeks into a 10-week internship when I finally get busted. And I don't even know what the news director was thinking because all of the other interns went back to school. Maybe he thought I went to a different university with a different schedule. So I'm 15 weeks into the 10-week internship when I finally get busted by the news director. He's one of these old curmudgeons. If some of you remember Mary Tyler Moore, he was Lou Grant. He was this old curmudgeon news director. So he's walking by the newsroom with a cup of coffee, grumbling under his breath, as he always did. And he passed me in the hallway and he says, Crilley, this is an awfully long internship. When is this thing going to be over? And I whispered under my breath, it was over 5 weeks ago. He turns around, he says, what did you say? I said, it was over 5 weeks ago. He said, come into my office. And I was so scared. I thought this might be the scene in the movie where he kicks me out for trespassing. So I sit down across from his desk and he says, Crilley, let me make sure I understand this correctly. You're not getting any college credit anymore because this internship ended 5 weeks ago. I said, that's correct. He says, and we're not paying you anything. Is that right? I said, that's right. He said, what are you doing here, man? And I said, I was driving their cars. I mean, I'm sure there was an insurance concern because I really was trespassing at this point. And I felt, I went down into my gut and found that this is the plea. Don't throw me out of here. I said, this is the air that I breathe. This is the food that I eat. This is all I think about morning, noon, and night. Please don't make me leave. And he just took compassion on me. And he said, Jeff, we don't have a position for you, but I have to reward this kind of hustle. We're going to make a position for you. I don't know what we're going to call you, executive lackey, newsroom assistant, but you got a job. And I went over to try to hug him. He wasn't a hugger. He said, a handshake will do. And he gave me a job doing the same thing that I was doing for free. And I was overjoyed because that meant I didn't have to clean toilets in the dorms anymore. And if anybody on this call, minimum wage back then was $2.35 an hour. Does anybody on the call remember when minimum wage was $2.35? So anyway, about 10 weeks later, there was a crisis in the newsroom where they had 5 reporters during the day, 3 of them call in sick. And I was there bright and early as I always was in my little news outfit with the tie, and the news director was grumbling. How am I going to put on a newscast with 2 reporters? We've got a noon show, a 6 o'clock show, an 11 o'clock show. How am I going to do this? And I smiled and I waved my hand and I said, put me in, coach. And he says, no, this is not happening, Crilley. No, you're not ready for TV yet. So he would go into his office, he would call each one of these reporters and he'd say, how sick are you really? All we got is Crilley. And he would poke his head out of the office and I'd be waving at him and he'd say, no, don't even think about it. This went on for about 15 minutes. He couldn't get any of these reporters to come in. And so he walked over to me with a 3/4 inch tape, which is the old style news tape. And he handed it to me. And with a ringing endorsement, he said, don't suck. So I went out and I did the story, which I had prepared myself for, prepare yourself for the job you want, not the job you have. And I went out and I did a decent story. It's 15 minutes before the 6 o'clock news. We sit down in the editing booth. I play it for him and he watches the whole thing and he looks at me and he says, it doesn't suck. And so they put it on the air. They put it on the air. And the next thing you know, I've got a job as a part-time reporter and then a full-time reporter. And by the time I was a senior, I was the weekend anchor boy. Then I started getting these job invitations from state capitals around the country because Lansing was a state capital. And one of the tricks that they use in the news business is that NBC stations will call each other and say, who do you want to get rid of from the competition? And I was at the CBS station, and apparently I was doing a good enough job that the NBC station in Lansing wanted me gone. So I started getting all these invitations to these markets that were just a little bit larger than Lansing. And I ended up getting a job in Lincoln, Nebraska, covering Lincoln and everything west for an Omaha TV station. So I went from market 100 to market 70. And it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because I ended up getting taken to school every single day by a guy named Mike McKnight. He was the most feared reporter in all of Nebraska. One of his standard things is he would go to bachelor parties with cops, and in the middle of the night, there's a double homicide in Lincoln, Nebraska, and he's there with the cops, and they all bundle into the car, and he had his own camera, and he'd go out there in the crime scene, and by the time the 6 a.m. news rolled around, he's there live with an exclusive. So I kind of lived in fear of the 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock news in Lincoln, Nebraska, because that was when the phone, we called it the bat phone. The bat phone in the bureau would ring, and it was my news director from Omaha wondering why Mike McKnight beat me once again. And I would record his newscasts, and then I would go back and watch the newscast. And reporters leave breadcrumbs because in order to do a story, you're interviewing somebody. And so I remember one time it was a nursing home abuse case and how dirty the nursing homes are in Lincoln, Nebraska. And so I just I wrote down the name of the government official he interviewed, and I called that person the next day. And I said, you don't know me from Adam, but clearly you know Mike McKnight. How did he get that story? And the guy would say, well, Mike calls me a couple times a week. I said, well, if you don't mind, I'm going to call you 4 or 5 times a week. So I ended up, after a little while, I was learning where he buried all his acorns, and I started to beat Mike McKnight. So once I felt like I was beating the king of Nebraska, I had to move to a larger market. And so I moved to Minneapolis. I grew up in Detroit, and I knew what cold was, but it's nothing compared to Minneapolis. You can wake up in Minneapolis, and the weather guy is saying, we're expecting a high today of 16 degrees below zero. It doesn't even crack zero some days in Minnesota. And so I spent 4 freezing years in Minnesota, and I realized, man, I can't spend my whole life waiting for springtime. And I started to have kids at that point. My daughter was born, and I had it in my mind, I got to get to the top 10 markets because I was in market 13 in Minneapolis. And so I looked up the top 10 markets. So you have LA, which is warm, but very expensive. You have San Francisco, which is warm most of the time, but very expensive. And then there was Dallas, which is market number 8. It was market number 8 at the time. And I just got news that we just moved to market number 4. That's how quickly Texas is growing. So it goes New York, LA, Chicago, Dallas, Philadelphia. We flip-flop with Philadelphia just now because there's wide open spaces. So I had it in my mind, gosh, my whole world has shrunk to 3 news directors. There was no Fox station at this time. So the only 3 news directors in my world that mattered to me was ABC, NBC, CBS in Dallas. So what I would do is I would get my camcorder and I'd make these home video messages from Minnesota to send to the news directors in Dallas. And so I remember it was a Halloween day, probably 1990. I ended up getting the job in 92. 1990, there was a cold snap. We got 2 feet of snow on Halloween day. I had my wife grab the camcorder, and this was my message to the news director from Channel 4 here in Dallas. I would say, hi, Mike, Jeff Crilley from Minnesota. Can you believe this? This is Halloween day. This is my little daughter, Sarah, playing in the snow. My wife, Susan, is running the camcorder. This is no way to live my life. You've got to rescue me. Here's my latest work. And then I would show a series of reports, and then I'd come back out and I would say, Mike, listen, I'm not going to give up on you the same way that I would not give up on you if I became a reporter for you. I know you value tenacity. So I'm going to be sending you these home video messages from Minnesota every single month. until you either get a restraining order against me or you hire me. And so then the next month it was, the thermometer went down to like 15 degrees below zero. I would grab my wife and I would be there shivering next to the time and temperature sign on the bank. Hey, Mike, it's Jeff. I'm going to make this super short because it's 15 degrees below zero. Here's my latest work. Okay. So this went on for a year and a half, guys, a year and a half. And it leads me to one of my favorite stories about preparing for interviews. So when these news directors were still not being convinced by me sending these tapes, I started to plan vacations in Dallas. So I had in my mind that I was going to live in Ennis. That was where my grandma lived, if anybody's familiar with Ennis. And so we would rent a little bed and breakfast in Ennis, and then I would harass the 3 news directors or their secretaries for the entire 2 weeks. Hey, Cindy, this is Jeff Crilley from Minnesota. Yes, I know. We talked yesterday. Does Mike have Does Mike have 3 minutes? I just want to, I'll come over with a Dunkin' Donuts and a hot cup of coffee. I can meet him in the lobby. I'll take 3 minutes of his time. All I'm going to do is put a name with a face and hand him my tape. Is there any way that you could let me in? I'm sure somebody gave you a break one time. This would be you paying it forward to the person who gave you a break one time. Then I would then harass these people, and eventually I'd bluff my way into an interview. Well, at one point I said, okay, what can I do to be more convincing during these interviews? And this is pre-internet days. I went to the Dallas Public Library, and they had this clipping service where they clipped all the articles on all the TV stations since they signed on in the 50s. And then I spent about $50 on photocopying, Xeroxing, and I would Xerox the files for the 3 TV stations, and then I would study like it was a final exam for these TV stations. And then when I bluffed my way into Channel 4, I would say the reason I want to work for Channel 4 is because you guys have always been the news leader. Look at this article. You guys were the first one with the helicopter. Look at this article. You were the first one with a live truck. And I would do the same thing at Channel 8. I want to work for you because you've always been the news leader. Okay, so I had it in my mind that I had to pull the hat trick. I had to get into all 3 stations. And the news director from Channel 5 was kind of dodging me. I would call every single day, and I kept getting told that Mike Overton did not have any time for me. And it was the last day of my trip. I didn't have anything else planned. So I did probably the most aggressive thing I had ever done. I just showed up in the lobby after being told that he didn't have time. So I showed up in the lobby and I was very polite. I announced to the receptionist, I'm here to see Mike Overton, and I know he's very busy. I'm sure he probably does not have time for me, but I don't know what the man looks like. I've got a nice long book here, War and Peace. I would love to just sit in your lobby and read the book. And if Mike happens to go out to his car to go to lunch or something like that, can you point him out to me? Because I'd love to go, shake his hand and hand him my resume tape. Guys, that's aggressive. So she didn't want me cluttering up her lobby all day. My flight wasn't until 5. So she calls back to Mike, and Mike takes pity on me, and I go back to see Mike Overton. And he says, Jeff, I appreciate your hustle. I honestly do not have time to see you. I want you to meet with my number 2 guy. So I'm going to pause for a second and set up this story. In the course of studying all of these files, I came across the SMU player scandal that Dale Hansen ended up winning like a Peabody Award for, the highest broadcasting award they give out in television. And this is where he basically had a gotcha moment with the athletic director, and he had proof that they were paying players. So when I'm reading this article about how Dale Hansen got this Peabody Award, they mentioned his number 2 guy. I'm just going to call him, John Doe. So John Doe was his producer. John Doe was the one who actually did all the legwork. Dale was the pretty face to get the gotcha moment. So this is the guy who did all the legwork. So Mike Overton says, I don't have time to meet with you, Jeff. Let me introduce you to my number 2 guy, John Doe. And I said, not John Doe, the same guy who won the Peabody Award for the SMU death penalty story. And John Doe says, why, yes, I am. Come into my office, son. And we went into his office, and I still consider this the best interview I'd ever done. It was a 45-minute interview. We spent 40 minutes talking about him and 5 minutes talking about me. I just peppered him with questions about, tell me about that story. What was it like when I never saw the tape? What was it like when the athletic director was ambushed by Dale Hansen? And he says, well, if you have a couple minutes, I just happen to have the tape right here. And we're watching the tape that won him his highest award. And I'm praising him for, his legwork, and he's loving me. This is important, folks, because I think we all mess up the job interview. We spend so much time bragging about ourselves and everything that we've done, but that we haven't done the real important legwork, which is, do they like you? So during this, 40 minutes when he's talking about himself, he's really checking a lot of boxes. Crilley seems to be a nice guy. Crilley asks good questions. I wouldn't mind seeing Crilley every day. The guy clearly does his homework, and he gets me. And so he checked all those boxes, and then towards the end, he glances at my resume and he sees that I'm jumping from market number 13 to market number 8, which truly in TV news, that's almost a lateral move. And so he was pleasantly surprised. Hey, not only is he a nice guy, but he's qualified. And he asked me a couple of insignificant questions about myself. And then he says, well, Jeff, I'm out of time. It's been so nice to meet you. So then I get on the plane with my wife and daughter. I get back to Minnesota. This is back in the time of answering machines. And my answering machine had messages from my 3 references. And each one of them said, hey, Jeff, I think you're going to get that job at Channel 5 in Dallas, because I got a message from, I talked to, John Doe for 5 minutes and told him you're the best thing since sliced bread. I think you're going to get the job at Channel 4, at Channel 5. Well, come to turn out, the news director from Channel 4 was thinking the same thing. And the news director from Channel 4 ended up giving me the job. And I asked him, I said, when did you decide that you were going to hire me? He says, Crilley, in my mind, I had decided that you were hired a year ago. I said, a year ago? I've been sending you tapes for a year and a half. He says, yeah, I know. I just wanted, it tickled me, and I didn't truly have a position for you until now. But then when these entitled reporters from Channel 4 would come into my office complaining about how bad their day is, he would take the tape and say, hey, watch this guy from Minnesota. This guy is exploiting his family just to try and get a job here. You're lucky to be here at Channel 4. So anyway, I do the Channel 4 thing for 15 years. I end up winning several major awards, including the Emmy, and I never won the Peabody, but I won just about everything else. And I freed an innocent man from prison, and I did kind of everything I wanted to do in TV news. And I had written a book. The book was about publicity. Here's how you get yourself on the news from a news guy's perspective. Here's what you say. Here's what you should never say. Here's how you talk in sound bites. Here's how you become an expert in your field that the media will call for quotes. I did one of the craziest things I've ever done. I went on this blistering book tour. I gave 300 speeches a year for 6 straight years, in addition to my TV job. Breakfast speech, lunch speech, go to work at Channel 4. Breakfast speech, lunch speech, go to work at Channel 4. I ended up selling 70,000 copies of a $10 book, and my current business as a PR guy was born. Why? Because as I'm signing people's books, often they're complaining about their PR firm. They would say words to the effect, Jeff, listen, I'm not really a reader. It's a do-it-yourself book. I'm happy to give you $10 for your book, but what I really need to do is hire you. I've got this horrible PR firm. They've been here for 6 months. I trapped myself into a 12-month contract. I knew I shouldn't have signed it. It's been 6 months. They haven't done anything for me. Can I just hire you? I'd say, no, you can't. I'm on the news. It's unethical. I can't take your money. And they would say, all right, Jeff Crilley, I'm going to write on my business card a $sign. Do not throw this away. This is worth thousands and thousands of dollars a month to you one day if you ever leave TV news and I get a chance to hire the guy who literally wrote the book on free publicity. So I squirreled away about 30 of these cards. And in 2008, after a total of 25 years in the news business, I finally had my fill of TV news. Often I was the crime guy, which means my 10 o'clock news assignment or 9 o'clock news assignment was sitting on the couch of a grieving mom who just lost her son to a stray bullet. So I wasn't getting any real satisfaction out of my true job. And I was having more fun on my side hustle, selling books and giving speeches. So I asked my wife's permission to quit. And I quit and I started this company in my home in May of 2008. I'm a tireless worker. So I'm gonna give you guys a little tour of what's happened in the last 16 years. I've built it into a large PR firm. We're not just getting people on Fox and CNN, we're producing television shows now. We're basically saying to podcasters, instead of you being at home with a ring light, why don't you come in here, interview people, and leave? So I'm going to show you, well, I'll just let you peek through the window. This is a show that's going on right now. The client is sitting on a $10,000 anchor desk, and he's interviewing people. If you can see that monitor back there, he's interviewing 2 guests in 2 different cities. So Jay Young is the host. He pays me $500, and that includes all the editing, uploading, and tagging. So this division that I built, the podcast division, we're now hosting 190 different television shows. 190. So that's what his anchor desk looks like. This is our reception area. This is Lauren. It's Lauren's birthday. So she sets the stage for the day. She's also a snackologist and a barista and serves up the Perrier. And in here you have another place to meet. So people will come in here and meet before and after their shows. That's our Austin studio. So if they went to a wide shot, we have a studio 2 blocks from the Capitol. This is a studio in downtown Fort Worth. This is at South Lake Town Square. And we feel like this is the future. The future is not begging Fox and CNN to tell our story. The future is telling your own story. These are brand new clients who came in today for the first time to film their show. I'm so excited because we truly believe that where everything is going with the media is the media is kind of imploding. They got too biased to the right and to the left. And so their numbers are shrinking. We see it every day. Even if anybody ever, used to subscribe to the Dallas Morning News, if you go to 7-Eleven and you pick up the Dallas Morning News Monday or Tuesday paper, it's paper thin. It's embarrassing. It used to be the second largest newspaper in the state, and now it looks like the Plano paper does to me. This is hair and makeup, so people often will fly in from New York and LA, knock out a bunch of shows, leave. We do all the editing for them. This is our biggest studio. It's called Oprah. The Oprah studio can fit up to 70 people. I'm just going to scoot through here.
Yeah,
They're doing a photo shoot right now. But this is the only studio in Dallas-Fort Worth that can accommodate a live studio audience. We can get up to 70 people in here. This is what I call my newsroom. We're all former journalists. I do a little Jeff Crilley show every day. This is my little anchor desk. And what makes this shot interesting is people. Who has an anchor desk in a newsroom other than the news? So we're now producing content that looks exactly like the news does. And you can tell I'm like a kid in the candy store. I'm now 61. My wife is 11 years younger. She is the head of marketing for Highland Park Village. She announced to me that she has no plans of retiring until she's 70. So that would put me at 81. And I don't golf. So I'm 61. I feel like I have another 20 years left in me. And I get to work with my kids. So this is my son, Dallas.
Hey.
Say hi to the group.
Hey, how's it going?
This is my daughter, Sarah. She's my vice president. And I have a 14-year-old grandson who wants to take over the company one day. So I'm thinking to myself, why would I miss this part of the movie? I had been telling myself a story for many years. Well, sometime in your mid-60s, aren't you supposed to wind it down and retire? And now I'm thinking to myself, no, I'm just getting started. I mean, this industry, this podcast industry is so wide open right now. I'm determined to just change the podcast industry and get people out of their homes with ring lights and bring them into a professional studio where we can do all the work for them, and all they have to do is show up and be the talent. Anyway, I'd love to take some questions, but I wanted you guys to kind of see what hard work and just grinding every day can do. So if anybody has any questions, I would welcome them.
Yeah, this is Matt. I'll start. I saw a lot of blue lights coming up from the floor in a lot of those rooms. Is that just to make it look cool, or does that have
it makes it very theatrical. So like if you that wall, this is all just carpeting, and we carpeted it. In fact, we've got soundproofing on the ceilings because this room would be an echo chamber if we didn't. But then we noticed that when you put the cool lighting on the carpeting, it looks very dramatic. And if you've gone to any conference, like a large conference, they hire these big AV companies in there to take the Hilton ballroom and turn it from kind of a drab, I'm going to call it like a warm yellow lighting coming down from the ceiling, and they transform it with these uplightings. And so every one of our studios has theatrical lighting to give it some gravitas. Even that shot would be boring were it not for the uplighting behind the chairs. And with one button, we can turn it any color of the rainbow. And this view of traffic behind the anchors is just really cool.
Where are you? Where's your office?
Lincoln Center, LBJ and the Tollway.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, if anybody wants to take a tour, feel free, just Google Real News Public Relations. I'll give you my email address. Just email me, and happy to give anybody a tour if they're interested. It's Jeff Crilley, JEFFCRILLEY at realnewspr.com.
Hey, Jeff, this is Robin Claterblatt. I worked formerly with Michael Nadeau at Connect, so I've been to your studio several times, and I can attest that it is a beautiful, very, very professional studio. I've also seen you do a lot of great PR work on behalf of Michael Nadeau and Connect, so I just wanted to be a testimony for you.
Thank you. You're so sweet. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Just jump in, unmute, jump in.
Hey, Jeff, this is Penn Hoyt. I'm a little bit older than you. Your story was familiar to me when you got your position by walking on in. I did that exact same thing when I moved to Washington, D.C. back in the 80s. And I think you couldn't get away with that now by walking in. I think you'd be arrested first or thrown out. So that throws that out the window. But in the job search mode and what you know of and how things are going through, what do you recommend as somebody to, as you said, get that publicity, get that name, so people, will recognize you going forward when you're trying to get that interview and you're trying to be the one that shines out of that 500 people that are going for that same position?
Well, what I love about LinkedIn, and I'm on LinkedIn all the time, is you can start very innocently by starting to comment on the person's posts. So you can either start with like the CEO or go down to the hiring manager, all of the above. You're just starting to become very, very familiar to them. And then at some point, we're all human. We all like friendly people who comment on our stuff. At some point, the person says, "Hey, thank you so much for all the kind comments over the last few weeks." And you find an opening and say, "Hey, listen, I would love your company sounds amazing. I'd love a tour sometime, or I'd love to learn more about the company. Everything I'm reading in your posts and seeing online is just fascinating. I would really love to meet you one day." I think a tour is kind of an innocent ask. It's not give me a job. It's I'd love to see the place. I think that's a very innocent ask. And then as you're bonding with the person, you're saying something like, "Hey, listen, I don't even know if you guys are hiring, but gosh, this would be a dream place to work. And if anything opens up, I want to be the first person you think of." Again, it's still aggressive, but it's not like stalkerish. I actually have and I'll just put in a plug for what we're doing here. Most of the shows that are being done here are I'm going to call them business development shows. So if Jeff Crilley, the marketing guy, tried to get an interview with the head of a major bank in Texas, Jeff Crilley can't get by the receptionist. They would shut me down and say, no, 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 we've already got a PR firm. We've got a marketing department. We don't really need to meet with you, Jeff Crilley. But because I'm now Jeff Crilley, the media guy again, I invite people on my television show. I invite them on my television show, and then later they come up here and they say, "Oh, wow, you can make me a national television host for $500. You can get me on Fox and CNN for a few grand a month. Why have your son send me more information? I'd love to get started." So what I'm saying to you is that even somebody who's in between opportunities can host a show here in which you're actually bringing in the hiring manager or the CEO of a company that you want to work for. I found that the skeleton key that opens all locks is I'd love to feature you on my national talk show. It's incredible how well it works, to the point where now I average 3 shows a day. Next week, I'm going to be doing a very long day in which I'll have 15 shows, which is going to be exhausting. But with each one of these shows, the host, the guest is bonding with me. They're sharing it across their platforms. And when you get a lot of people starting to, beat that drum for you, you're creating your own noise. I hope that makes sense, but it's, I don't do so many television shows because I want to see myself on TV. I would have just stayed at Channel 4. I do it because it's very lucrative and it's a great way to meet new people. So when I'm at a networking event, like last night, I'm a member of a group called EO. It's kind of like YPO or Vistage. There was a networking event last night. We all went to Arlington Hall on Turtle Creek. And when I was there shaking hands, they have a non-solicitation clause. You can't go up to another member and say, "Hey, do you need a PR firm?" It's inappropriate. You'll get booted out. But as I walked around, I started to meet people. "Hey, tell me more about you." "Oh, I'm with Northwestern Mutual." "Really? Well, tell me more about that." "Oh, well, I'm one of the senior people." And I was like, "Oh, wow, we have Northwestern Mutual on our top floor of our building. You know what? I have a national television show. Would you ever consider coming on my national TV show? Would your bosses let you come on my national TV show?" "Yeah, sure. I would. I have no problem with that." When I woke up, I'm giving you a real example. I woke up this morning. The first thing I saw was the guy I was talking to last night send me a LinkedIn request. Even before I had a chance to reach out to him, he's reaching out to me. So again, I just want you to see the world through my lens, which is it's not necessarily who you know, it's who you get to know. And you can get to know anybody you want to get to know for the rest of your life by coming up with the right opening line. For some of you, it might be, "I'd love to get a tour of your place sometime." And for some of you who are like, if you're actually serious about podcasting, come get a tour and come see the world the way I see the world.
Thank you much.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, Jeff, thanks for sharing your story. I think it was really inspirational to hear how you beat down the doors and everything you did. Especially, well, back then we didn't have internet back then. You had to do what you had to do. While you were a reporter, was there any one story or one place that you wish you would have traveled to or wish you would have covered? And is there any particular news personality you really admired and thought, "Wow, I want to be like Walter Cronkite. I want to be
Yeah,
like
and I
any of these
did.
others."
Well, Walter Cronkite, I'm old enough that I grew up, my dad was watching Walter Cronkite when I was a junior in high school. Dan Rather took over for Walter Cronkite. And during my news career, I did get to meet both Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather. In fact, it was really cool because Dan Rather was the presenter one year. I don't know if you remember this, the Oklahoma bombing thing happened, and
Yep.
his co-anchor was Connie Chung. And he was very insulted when they sent Connie Chung to Oklahoma City to be live from Oklahoma City, and they kept him in New York on the anchor desk. He was really insulted by that because he loved to travel in a suitcase and be right where the action is. And of course, Tom Brokaw was there, and Peter Jennings was there. So it just so happened that there was a Associated Press award ceremony going on in Austin during the Oklahoma City bombing thing, and Dan had a time to go down and be the presenter. But I actually had a chance that I won 2 awards that day and got to pose with Dan and shake his hand twice, and that was pretty cool. I hope that answers your question.
Was there any location that you wanted to ever travel to and cover for news? Because I know there's global reporters, you know, people involved in a lot of places.
You know what? I never really had this itch to go overseas or go to, a war zone. I got to during the 90s. I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember when the Cowboys were good. Is anybody? So during the 90s, the Cowboys were really good. They won 3 Super Bowls. So when the Cowboys would go to the playoffs, they started to send me on the road as a news reporter. So I remember that first year, I think we played Philadelphia. So I was like the reporter talking, hyping up the crowd. Like I would go to Philadelphia and I would go into a sports bar and I would hold up a Troy Aikman poster. And if anybody knows anything about the Philly fans, they're violent. Yeah. So I would hold up the Troy Aikman poster and I'd say, tell us what you're going to do to Troy Aikman on Sunday. And they would like rip it up and rip it with their teeth. And then I went to Wisconsin. We beat the Eagles and we went to Wisconsin to play the Packers. And I went to a similar sports bar, and there's a thing called Minnesota Nice, Wisconsin Nice. I had an Emmitt Smith poster. And I went into this sports bar in Milwaukee and I said, show us what you guys are going to do to the Cowboys this Sunday. And the guy says, well, we hope it's a fair contest. We have a lot of respect for Emmitt Smith. We hope he doesn't get injured. And I'm thinking to myself, no, dude, you're supposed to rip it up. And so anyway, we beat the Packers, and then we go to the Super Bowl, which was played at the Rose Bowl that year. And I got to be there poolside with Mike Ducey and Clarice Tinsley, and we were staying in the same hotel as the Cowboys. So like almost every night I'm running into all these, superstar Cowboy players and Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones. And now life kind of comes full circle. Many of the Cowboy players are in our studios now being interviewed by somebody or hosting their own show. One of our new shows is the Preston Pearson show. So he won 2 Super Bowl rings during the 70s. And so like a couple weeks ago, he was in here. And so you have Preston Pearson, you have Everson Walls, who played during the 80s, didn't win any rings under Danny White. And then Tony Casillas was there. And so I took a picture and sent it to my wife. And I said, how cool is this? Like just, all these athletes need a platform. And if they're on Channel 4, they get like 2 minutes. Here they come in here and they can pontificate for half an hour, 45 minutes, and kind of control their own messaging. So in answer to your question, I loved doing all the sports stuff in the early 90s.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Well, I'll give you guys a little pep talk. Are you ready? So the pep talk is every single morning when you look in the mirror and you're brushing your teeth and brushing your hair, you should be asking yourself, what am I doing today to get me closer to that job that I want? I would actually target 2 or 3 companies that become your focus. And you start to think, okay, I've already requested LinkedIn with several of the employees. I've started to engage in conversations with several of the employees. Do I feel comfortable to ask them for a tour? And that's kind of going from a LinkedIn online person to let's meet this person face to face. And then I would say, really do your homework on the company and most specifically, the person you're about to do an interview with, if you get a chance to meet them. Because when I was, bluffing my way into these TV stations, I almost always got a meeting with the guy who was going to hire me. And I was able to really say, Mike Seacrest, you are amazing. I know you came from a smaller market. You came here and Channel 8 has been dominant for so many years, but you are now starting to beat Channel 8 on breaking news. I love your aggressiveness. I love that special series that you did last month about prostitution in Dallas. You're such an innovator, and I love your aggressiveness. You see what I'm saying? I mean, all I'm doing is telling him what he already believes about himself. And then after I ended up doing the interview with them, I would keep in touch and I would start to see what they were covering in Dallas. Even in let me think there wasn't YouTube back in the early 90s, but certainly you would see on the national news a big shooting in Dallas or something like that, and on the TV screen it would say KDFW, and I could see that, and so then I would send them a note and say, "Hey, Mike, Jeff from Minnesota, just congratulations on that police shooting. That was amazing the way you guys covered that. I even saw your logo on the national news." I mean, there's all kinds of ways to kind of you're making an excuse to keep in touch. Old-fashioned letter writing, not an email, but like an old-fashioned. When I would visit these news directors, I actually had the thank you card written already. Thank you so much for the time. I left a little bit of space in case I needed to add another piece of information or some snippet, and congratulations to your daughter or whatever. And then I would, as soon as the interview was over, I would lick that envelope and put it right in the mail so that they would they'd get it the next day. I remember putting a letter in the mailbox right in front of Channel 4 as I left the building. And just you got to be hungry. I think the only times when aggressiveness would not pay off is if it's, I don't know, a very conservative, stuffy company that you probably don't want to work for anyway. I'll tell you, I got my wife a job with a pizza. Do you want to hear that story? So my wife is in Wichita Falls. She's a reporter in a very small market 135. And I was killing myself commuting. So I said, I'm going to help you get a job in Dallas. And Channel 33 had just signed on the air. They were going to go head to head with my station, Channel 4, at 9:00. And back then it was called the WB. If you remember, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, those were the kinds of shows that they had. So I read this book called 303 Offbeat Ways to Get a Job. And one of the techniques was take a pizza. You don't have to spend a lot of money, $8 cheese pizza. Take your resume, flip it upside down on top of the pizza box so you have something to write on. And I said, hire me, in big, bold red letters, hire me, I always deliver. And then underneath that, I wrote, I know this is a cheesy way to get your attention, but I would do anything for a job interview. Underline the cheesy so they get the pun. A cheesy way to get your attention, but I'd do anything for a job interview at Channel 33. And then I signed Victoria's name to it, my wife's name to it, and I put her pager number down. This is how old this story is. And 5 minutes after I delivered the pizza, her pager rings and it's the news director. And he says, "Okay, pizza girl, you got my attention. What are you doing tomorrow?" And she says, "What do you want me to be doing tomorrow?" He says, "I want you to come to Dallas and I want to talk to you." And so she took a day off and drove to Dallas and ended up getting the job. So those creative searches, I mean, it was a little bit corny, but you're trying to separate yourself from 500 other people. What can you do to just get their attention? So you've probably heard these techniques. You take an old vinyl record, you break it into a million pieces, you put it in a shoebox. I hate to sound like a broken record. You buy a couple shoes from Walmart, you take one of the sneakers and you put it in the box along with a note saying, "Just trying to get a foot in the door." Deliver a cookie. I know this is a crummy way to get your attention. You put put icing. I'm making this stuff up, but like with the people I was applying for and my wife was applying for, creativity was valued, right? I'm applying to newsrooms. That's why I say a stuffy, century-old law firm in downtown Dallas with pictures of the founders' paintings on the wall. It probably wouldn't work with a conservative law firm in downtown Dallas, but it did work with creative industries like news.
That's awesome. I actually saw a LinkedIn post yesterday that Pizza Hut is offering to deliver your resume along with a pizza. That's like a promotion that they're running now.
I love it. That's great. That's great. And you could deliver it yourself. I mean, seriously, there's a chance. And I delivered that pizza right before lunch because I didn't want the guy to go out to lunch first. And just the whole story was I was already on TV in Dallas. And normally I like to get recognized, but here I am delivering a pizza on behalf of my wife to our direct competition. So I was just praying that I wasn't recognized because I would be like a double agent. And I was also thinking to myself, if I'm recognized, they must be thinking, how hard are times at Channel 4 where the news reporters have to moonlight as a pizza delivery guy? I want to, since the news desk just cleared off, I want you to see this shot. This is so pretty. This is one of my favorite shots. So, here, watch this. How cool is that?
Oh man.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, it looks like the news.
Yep. That is super cool.
Thank you. No, I have the coolest thing ever. So I'm serious about that. If anybody wants to tour sometime, just send me an email and we'll get you up here and show you around.
Jeff, what was that email again? One more time.
It's my name, Jeff Crilley, Crilley, at real, like not fake news, real news, PR, like public relations.com.
Cool. Thank you.
You bet.
We'll put that in the chat too.
Any other questions?
So I know you mentioned that obviously, I mean, your presentation was about the grind that you had when you were trying to break into the business. And I mean, obviously, you shared a lot of the really funny, positive stories. Like, what were the things that kept you going in those times where maybe you might have gotten a little frustrated and felt like maybe things weren't going exactly how you would like for them to?
I remember like when these guys were not hiring me, I mean, despite me sending these tapes and flying down on my own dime every 6 months to visit with these guys, I remember sleeping with the Bible and like praying. I was like, dear God, I want this so bad I can taste it. I would look at the map and ironically, like from Minnesota to Dallas is I-35. And when it goes all the way to Minneapolis. And every time I would see that I-35, I'd say, man, yeah, it's everything that I can do to stop myself from just continuing to drive down to Dallas. And I just was obsessed with it. I have to get to Dallas. And again, I had 3 targets, and those were the 3 that I was nurturing all the time. So I would say, I mean, some people on this call might be spraying and praying, and I would say there's some wisdom to that. It's a scatter shot approach, it's a shotgun shot approach. Mine was a rifle. I'm going to concentrate on these 3 companies, and I want to make sure that I am on the top of that list. So in the TV news world, truly what happens is back then they were getting resume tapes. These days, you just send them a link to your YouTube, but they had stacks, and it would be 30 to 40-year-old white male stacks, right? African-American female stacks. And so I thought to myself, man, I just want to be on the top of that 30 to 40 white male stack. And I think this stick-to-itiveness thing is probably more attractive now than it was when I was doing it, because a lot of you are competing with 23-year-olds who are entitled. And their first question during the interview is, how many vacation days do I get? And how quickly can I get that corner office? They're not used to paying their dues like the older generation is. So I think it's if you Google employers think Gen Z is lazy, you'll see dozens and dozens and dozens of articles of bosses and hiring managers who have just said, that's it. I'm not hiring anybody under 40. Because of the kind of the work ethic and the grind and the attitude. And I hope there's nobody on, I'm not talking, if you're under 30, I'm not talking about you on this call. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the other guys. But but seriously, I think that's how I would, if I got a job interview, you're playing up your age. You're saying to the person, you may or may not have experienced this, but I've noticed that a lot of people under 30 just don't have the stick-to-itiveness. They're too sensitive. They don't take criticism well. Some of them are fairly entitled. I'm not that person. I grew up and I had to work for every dime I ever made in high school. I've just been a grinder my whole life. You know, I always had the attitude in TV news. I was not born with Peter Jennings' good looks. I was not born with Tom Brokaw's baritone voice, but nobody will ever outwork me. And I had that mantra where I'm just going to run circles around these people. And now in the PR industry, I'm doing the same thing. I'm always climbing mountains. I'm an empire builder. That's just who I am. And so I think you have to almost be obsessed with it. You have to want it so bad you can taste it.
That's your version of the Mamba mentality.
Yes. Yes. Or go back and here I'll give you guys a homework assignment if I may. Go back and watch Michael Jordan's The Last Dance. That people think it's a sports movie. It's a business movie. All of those lessons you learn from how Michael Jordan approached the game and competition. I mean, he'd make up fake reasons to want to put up 60 points, right? Oh, he didn't shake my hand coming off the court. Okay, that's it. Tomorrow night, I'm dropping 60 on you guys. So, I mean, he inspires me as a businessman because I think you have to have that mindset, that take no prisoners mindset.
I love that. Thank you.
Yes, you bet.
Jeff, could you briefly describe your typical day and what you go through? You've mentioned that in the past. It's pretty interesting.
Sure. Yeah, I get up every morning at between 4 and 5 in the morning to begin my day. I write a daily email that now goes out to 29,000 journalists all over North America and to London, England. It's become such a labor of love for me that I've not missed a single day in 16 years. Not Christmas Day, not New Year's Day for 16 years. The benefit of it is I'm a trusted voice in newsrooms. They say to themselves, the last 50 people we booked from Crilley's tip sheet were good. Why wouldn't this person be good? So we're, as a news company, as an expert company, if you will, because we specialize in doctors, lawyers, mental health experts, leadership experts. In fact, you guys on this call are an expert in the hiring economy right now. The news is always looking for experts. So this tip sheet basically says, hey, if you want to do a story about, why the Secret Service apparently dropped the ball twice in a row on Trump, here is a former Secret Service agent who's willing to talk and weigh in on this subject. And then I put their picture, their email, and their cell phone into my daily e-blast. Well, journalists love this. They're not having to call 15 people. Jeff Crilley just served it up on a silver platter. So we're averaging between 15 and 30 media placements per month per client. It's a ridiculous level of service for the PR industry. And then you guys will get a kick out of this. I'm in this EO group I told you about, Entrepreneurs Organization. Well, my forum decided that we are going to go river rafting in Oregon in 3 weeks where there's no cell service. And I said to my forum, I said, listen, I've got this winning streak. I've not missed this newsletter a single day in 16 years. Are you going to break my winning streak? So they are getting a Starlink and a generator so that I can put this thing out there. I have to wake up at 3 in the morning in Oregon time to get it out at my usual time in Dallas, which is 7 a.m. But that's the kind of drive and determination. And there's a book called The Power of, The Power of Habit. It was written a few years ago by a New York Times bestselling author. And idea is if you do one thing every single day religiously, everything changes. So if I devoted myself to going to the gym every single day for the rest of my life for an hour before coming in here, I bet I'd be in much better shape than I am right now. If I devoted myself to do the New York Times crossword puzzle every day for the next 16 years, my vocabulary would be so much better than anybody else's on this call. I'm kind of the Rain Man of PR, if you guys get the reference. I'm super good at getting people on the news, and it's because every single morning as I'm writing this thing between 4 to 7, I'm doing a very complicated crossword puzzle, finding information. And so when I meet somebody at a cocktail party and they say they're a podiatrist, I can say, "Wow, hey, I've heard a lot that high heels can create pain for women. Do you ever end up doing anything with high heel pain? Oh my God, it's a big problem. Blah 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 blah." So I'm able to like quickly do their PR in my head, and I'm saying that not to brag about myself, but saying that obsessiveness that I've used throughout my career is something you need now more than ever. You're all being tested. And I love the saying, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. And so you're being tested. You're being asked, how tough are you? And I think the good news for everybody on this call is your competition is soft. Your competition got ribbons going to, they got trophies and ribbons just to show up at soccer. So you're competing against a generation that's not used to rejection. They're not, the first time somebody tells them no, they can't make a cold call again. I mean, call centers, you can look this up, like outbound call centers are suffering because Gen Zs are a texting generation. They're not a talking generation. And so I remember my daughter, who's my vice president, I had to teach her to make a cold call. I said, "Sarah, you're going to have to learn how to make a cold call." And I made her do it. And now she's very good at it. Anybody else?
Jeff, I'm very envious. You're always smiling, and I have a trouble with my life smiling, and I'm supposed to smile more. I've been working on it since 1971, and I'm only about a third of the way there right now. And so I really love your smile and the way you present. It's very positive, very, very easy to connect with you as you are talking and present. So
thank you.
There's something there that forget all the words, which I still like all of those. But what did I get from you? Oh, Walt, you got to smile some more. You just have to do it.
Thank you. I think you look at that. You got a great smile. Yeah. Well, this has been a blessing. I'll leave you guys, and you have my email. Feel free to send me an email if you have further questions or you want a tour. But this has been a blessing, and I hope you'll keep inviting me back.
You can depend on it, Jeff. I'm very positive that you will be on the list, no matter who's leading the group. And we are praying that Jeff will return very soon. He's on the path. He definitely wants to come back, and he's ready. And I wish he could be here today because you and he have been, working together for many years and have a great relationship. So thank you so much, Jeff. Did he do a good job? Did he not?
Thank
Did you like today's session?
Very inspiring. Thank you.
Isn't that something?
It was,
All right, Jeff. Thank you so much for participating with us today.
You bet.
I appreciate that.
You bet.
You can go back to work now.
Okay. God bless.
Okay. So let me get here and share my screen. Okay, I thought you might enjoy listening to Jeff and his story and his approach and how he did it. We're not all obsessive compulsive in job search, but we certainly need to be determined and dedicated and to making a difference every day in doing something that gets us closer to that job. And it's not just sitting there and applying online. All right. So that was great. I appreciate Jeff being there. So I'll put this into the chat window because I'm going to talk about creativity.org. But there is a recorded video on YouTube where Jeff explains Creative W and Career USA, and he kind of walks you through it. So that's a shortcut that instead of just going there and digging around and finding things, he kind of has it all organized and stuff for that. So if you want to take a picture of that here or something, but I'll put that into the chat window. So when you're in careerdfw.org, you will see something like this on the page. All right. Welcome to careerdfw.org. And I don't know if you can see it. Let me see. I've got to move my, yeah, there's the calendar feature. That's one of the things that I think is extremely beneficial. So if you click on that calendar feature, you will get something that looks like this. And there's the groups that are meeting. Now this, since February, this has not been updated. Nobody has credentials to get into Jeff's page here to change anything or keep anything updated. However, most of those groups are still meeting. He color codes them. So you want to find out what's going on, who's meeting, you can click on any of these. And there's also an agenda view where you can look at it and say, okay, let me click on one of those. And if you'll notice, there are two of them here. Well, they fit two different categories. They're in different colors for that. But if you clicked on that, it would give you more detailed information, tell you who's in charge, who contacts, things like that. So you can look around and say, gee, what's going on? What's happening this week? And is there something there that would be beneficial for me to move me forward in my job search? And that's just the calendar feature. That's not all the other resources. Another thing that you can do is that Jeff records, and we are recording this one today. And we've learned, Matt has learned how to post these on the YouTube channel. So it's the youtube.com/careerusa. And they're categorized videos. And so there's probably 800 or 900 videos out there over the last, since, COVID came along, that have been recorded out there. So you can click on one. You want to click on playlist down here. If you click on that, the video will start. You click on playlist. And when you click on playlist, you'll see here's the different videos that are recorded. You can do a Control F or a find and look for a topic and see which one. And so here's the ChatGPT job search that Rusty Wright gave a few weeks ago on the 23rd. Excellent. Strong to recommend that. So here's different things. Patty had presented Crystal Knows. I'll do an analysis on. So anyway, you can look at the different ones, and you can look at the interview categories. You can look at the resume categories. You can look at this. So there's a lot of stuff that's out there that's available for you to use as a resource and to find for you. So I'll give you that. Let's talk about what's coming up on next Tuesday. Tuesday is Patty Bashie has volunteered to lead that. Jeff led 4 groups every week when he was on Tuesdays. It was LinkedIn. Wednesdays it was Pit Crew because it was all online. On Thursdays it was each week was one on resumes and one on networking. So he would switch each week and do that. And then Friday was the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group with different multiple topics. So you can see that. So that's coming up on next Tuesday. Now, that is a 4th Wednesday. No, excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. That's going to be all online. Okay. So you can go to the 1 p.m. Central on the calendar, see the link, and join that group. It'll be Locke Alderson this week. Am I right, Patty? Are you still on?
I believe that's correct. I believe she put that in the chat.
Yeah, okay. I probably left. All right. So I'll be locking. And so she has 4 or 5 different people rotate, and they all have different perspectives on LinkedIn. Encourage you to take a look. I can tell you today with certainty that if you are looking for a job, they're going to look you up on LinkedIn. They're going to find something about that. So then on Wednesday is the practice interview team. We talked about that earlier. Since it is a 4th Wednesday, it'll be on Zoom, which allows people outside the DFW area who can't come here to the church. It's actually in this room that we're in today at Christ United Methodist Church in Plano. So you can join on Zoom so you can observe an interview there. Go to www.dallaspitcrew.com. You can get more information there about how you sign up, how you register, how you want to be a panelist, how you want to be interviewed and do a mock interview. I mean, how many interviews do we have to do before we get that confidence and skills and ability to enjoy the interview, right? It takes a few. Several people have taken it several times. And so what's coming up on a week from today? Maybe some of you know about Nigel Fisher. She has done a salary negotiations thing. I think she's done it at Frisco Connect and maybe out at South Lake Focus Group. So I cornered her, so she said she would be glad to come and do her presentation on that. The first Friday of the month is typically the open forum where we just say, okay, where do you need help? And we help each other. So all of us have different experiences, be glad to participate. So we're here to learn and we're also here to help. So we have that. Then on the 11th, I don't know if many of you have met or known about Steve Zipkoff on Life Lessons. So it's a little bit different category. You will enjoy Steve like you enjoyed Jeff today. And then the next Friday is Clayton Stockdale has the thing on making a career pivot. So it also includes like, I'm changing jobs, I'm changing industries. A lot of us are changing industries. We have these industry agnostic jobs, financial, IT, there's a lot of jobs that doesn't matter much, but what happens when you are changing industry? What do you do? So he's got that presentation. It's pretty good. I have a presentation on it too, but you'd probably rather hear somebody else. So that's it today. Remember,
Hold on.
Yep.
Shameless plug. If you haven't seen my tips and tricks presentation, or you are new and or we'd like a refresher, I'll be giving it this Monday at the Fort Worth Career Search Network. You can find the Zoom link, or you can go to Fort Worth and attend in person. I will not be there in person. This Monday at 9 o'clock. Go to careerdfw.org for the Zoom link.
Yeah, that's a Clayton Stockdale led group. And I'm glad I mentioned to Matt, be sure and tell people about it. We've also got a recording, the part 1 and part 2. However, you bring your computer, you bring your phone, you have something so that you can work through some of the tips and tricks that he's talking about. So it's a very engaging. It's not just a tell you thing. It's try this, do what we want. And I'm telling you, I'm already have learned things. Who here has seen his presentation just in the room? And how many of you, raising your hands, learned something? Everyone, all right? So it's pretty valuable. Matt does a superb job of that, so I recommend that. For those of you in the room, how many want to go to lunch? Go to Jason's Deli today, all right? So we need to get a table for that. Well, I had a burger yesterday, so we'll go to Jason's Deli today. We'll be glad to have you come to lunch and network with us. And thank you for joining us today. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Walt.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Walt.
Thanks, Walt.
Let me get something in the chat before you say it. Okay.
Thanks, Walt.
Certainly. And when you thank me, you're thanking Matt,